How's it going, guys? I'm Gunnar Carlson, 21 years old, about 5'10", 5'11" in height, weigh 155, and I race expert at West Coast GPs and Desert. My personal bike is a Husqvarna 350. I'm going to start it off with putting the Kawasaki in first place. For me, as soon as I sit on the Cowie, it feels real natural for me, the whole cockpit and rider triangle. It doesn't feel like the Yamaha. When I first sit on the Yamaha, it has a lot different feel compared to the other dirt bikes that we were testing today. The Cowie just felt very normal and easy to adapt to quickly. The power wasn't too aggressive. It was the most normal feeling power where it was very linear, and I felt as I could use it however needed, whether I needed more, if I needed to rev it, or if I needed to lug it. The Cowie was one of the best handling bikes that we tested today, through the bigger bumps and the smaller ones as well. The bigger bumps, it seemed like you could kind of get farther back on the bike and wheelie through them and touch the front wheel from whoop to whoop, which seemed like kept the bike a lot straighter with the suspension being softer as it comes stock. And through the smaller bumps, it seems like as if you're able to be in more of an attack position and stay neutral on the bike, and the bike is very level and works fluidly. The other biggest plus for the Kawasaki for me was cornering. In flat or slim to no rut, it seemed as if it had the most traction compared to the Yamaha and the Honda. It seemed like I didn't have to worry about trusting the tires as more with the Kawasaki. It was a lot easier to just trust the bike. The chassis settled into the rut a lot easier and handled the flat turns a lot smoother, so that I could worry about my acceleration coming out of the turn. In second place, I'm going to put the Yamaha. Coming from someone who hasn't had a lot of experience on Yamahas, it was hard to adapt to the rider triangle. The traction of the Yamaha seemed good, but not as great as the Kawasaki did. But where the Yamaha excelled the most for me was in the smaller bumps. I could come into the braking bumps into a corner and not have to worry about what the bike was going to do as much. I was able to trust that it would stay straight and I would be able to complete my braking coming into the turn. Whereas some of the other bikes, I was more so scrambling coming in because I wasn't too sure what the bike was going to do. For me, coming off of a 350 and a lot of 250s, the Yamaha power seemed that it was a little much for me. It was definitely the fastest bike, and you had to twist the throttle the least out of any of them to go the fastest, which is good in some aspects when you can save yourself or get over bumps and stuff like that. But it can also hurt you when you get into a longer moto. It becomes a lot more tiresome. I'm going to put the gas in third place. A lot of the other test riders complained about the power of the gas, but I guess because I am more comfortable on the Austrian bikes, it suits me a lot more. And being able to always have a finger on the clutch and just clutch it when it needs more power is something that I can do very well. Although I like the power of the gas, the handling was not the best. It was very soft and made the front end feel very twitchy. The gas seemed very slippery on all the hard pack conditions. You didn't notice it as much in the sand and the big whoops, but on any of the drier hard pack siltiness, it seemed like I was struggling and trying to find as much traction as I could, and it would cause me to want to float to the outside of the turns compared to finding the insides and just settling in. You do have to rev the gas a lot more than the other bikes that we were testing today, but it's not an over rev. It's not like you're revving a 250F. It's just you're riding it a little bit harder than, say, the Yamaha, where you can just grab a handful. You have to be on your toes and always ready to clutch it at any moment, which isn't necessarily a bad thing to me. But to a lot of riders, they don't like that as much. And it would be interesting to try the gas in map 2, but gas comes stock without a map switch, so you are stuck in map 1. In last place, I put the Honda. I'm not a person who has ridden a lot of Honda, so maybe that's why I had the hardest time getting adjusted to it and took me the longest to get acquainted with it. I first sit on it and it feels a little foreign to me compared to the Kawasaki, which just feels natural. The power of the Honda wasn't as aggressive as the Yamaha, but a little bit more aggressive than the Kawi. So power-wise, I wouldn't put the Honda in last, but handling-wise, I definitely would. I could never get comfortable through any of the bumps, small or large bumps. But where the Honda did excel to me compared to the other manufacturers was in the tight, twisty tree or in the tight, twisty turns. It seemed like it turned the quickest, almost as if it felt a lot shorter wheelbase, to where it was a lot more manageable through the trees. I could just whip it around a lot simpler. So in conclusion, my rankings for the day would go Kawasaki, Yamaha, Gas, and Honda in last. But I'm definitely looking forward to doing some upgrades to these bikes as far as suspension and stabilizer and ECU mapping. And we'll be seeing you guys back out here.
If you liked what you saw in this video, come check us out over at dirtbiketest.com on the webs. We have bike tests, product tests, a lot of fresh dirt, and you can even support us by clicking through our links. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the trail.